Yes, that is a dinosaur with a gun for a hand, and he was almost part of Jurassic Park 4. For the fourth installment of the franchise, Steven Spielberg and the studio didn't want another dinosaurs chase people on an island movie. They wanted something that would redefine what Jurassic Park could be, and the script they commissioned certainly did that. There were velociraptors modified with human DNA, a secret breeding facility in the Swiss Alps, and mercenaries using bioengineered dinosaurs for hostage rescue missions. This is the story of the Jurassic Park 4 we almost got. When Jurassic Park 3 was released in 2001, the franchise was in a strange place. The movie didn't completely flop, it turned a profit, albeit much lower than its predecessors, and creatively, it felt like a bit of a dead end. Spielberg wasn't directing anymore, Crichton wasn't involved, and the sense of wonder that defined the original was being replaced by set pieces and nostalgia. It felt like a rehash, dinosaurs on an island, survivors trying to escape, with no real evolution in the concept. Still, Universal wasn't going to let Jurassic Park go dormant. It remained one of their most bankable properties, and Spielberg himself was open to continuing if they could find an idea that truly moved the series forward. That's where things took a turn. In 2004, screenwriter John Sayles was brought on to crack the next chapter. Sayles wasn't a blockbuster guy. He was known for grounded, character-driven stories, often with political undercurrents. Concept art was created, the script was circulated to all the relevant players, and for a while, this wild version of Jurassic Park 4 looked like it was on its way to production. The film starts as a Little League game is interrupted by a pack of pterosaurs attacking from the sky. It's a small moment, but it signals something big. The age of containment is over. Dinosaurs aren't confined to the island anymore. They're starting to reach the mainland with disastrous consequences. As a black market for dinosaur genetics begins to flourish, governments scramble to respond, forming task forces to control the rogue dinosaurs. It's in this climate of growing instability that John Hammond, the only returning character, launches a new initiative. He wants to create a genetically modified breed of dinosaur, nicknamed the Judas strain. These dinosaurs would be modified to be aggressive but sterile, and specifically designed to hunt and wipe out the wild population. But to engineer these creatures, he needs access to dinosaur DNA. And as the UN has outlawed dinosaur cloning, the best place to find it is the canister that Dennis Nedry lost back on Isla Nublar. This is where we meet our main character, Nick Harris, a former mercenary hired to retrieve the canister from the ruins of the original park. Nick reaches the original island and secures the canister. However, he then goes through a series of life and death set pieces involving being pursued by raptors and seeing his rescue helicopter pulled from the air by a Kronosaurus. He is then captured by the Grendel Corporation and taken to their private genetics facility operating out of a fortress in the Swiss Alps. Inside the facility, Nick is introduced to a secret program developing dinosaurs mixed with dog and human DNA in order to increase obedience and problem solving. These aren't just bigger or smarter dinosaurs. They're upright, semi-humanoid creatures capable of following commands, wielding weapons, and working in tactile units. 3 hybrids, Spartacus, Orestes, and Perseus, are being trained as living weapons. There's even a training sequence where Nick trains the hybrids in order to deploy them for a rescue mission to save a kidnapped girl. The mission proves successful, with the kidnappers eliminated and the girl rescued unharmed. But then, in classic Jurassic Park fashion, the system breaks down. The hybrids begin to reject their training, and the implants that control them fail. One by one, the creatures turn on their handlers, and the final act of the script becomes a full-blown siege. The Grendel geneticists are slaughtered. The surviving dinosaurs, smarter, stronger, and no longer under control, escape into the wilderness. Nick returns the canister of DNA to Hammond, in the hope that he will use it more appropriately this time. It's a wild script, but what's most surprising in many ways is how many of the elements feel like early versions of ideas that would eventually appear in the Jurassic World trilogy. Training of the raptors, the weaponization of dinosaurs for military purposes, and the dinosaurs escaping into the wild. It's all here. And for a while, it looked like this was the version of Jurassic Park 4 that was going to happen. Stan Winston, the legendary special effects master, said of Spielberg's feelings towards the script, Steven wasn't very enthused with the first couple of screenplay drafts. I think he felt neither of them balanced the science and adventure elements effectively. It's a tough compromise to reach. Too much science will make the movie too talky, but too much adventure will make it seem hollow. Given that Spielberg had always been the driving force behind the franchise, him being weary on how to proceed with the project meant that it quietly went into hibernation. However, a few years later in the early 2010s, Spielberg would circle back around to the project and begin developing what would eventually become Jurassic World, a more traditional reboot that would stick closer to the original's tone, but still retained echoes of Sayles' draft, with many of his ideas making it into Colin Trevorrow's 2015 box office smash hit, albeit repackaged into something more commercially viable. And the dinosaur with a gun for an arm? He quietly became extinct.